Everywhere GBS.
Good afternoon. It is 1 minute past 1 p.m. here in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, and this is The Ambassador with me, your Ambassador Susan Nganga. Here is where we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. To our first story of the bulletin. United States President Donald Trump has blocked non-white refugee admissions from the rest of the world, but in February, offered to resettle Afrikaners, the descendants of mostly Dutch settlers, saying they faced discrimination and that they were being killed. The white refugees landed to the United States yesterday, and here is the full report.
The U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau greeted the first 59 Afrikaners to arrive in hangar at Washington Dulles Airport.
The president made it clear that Afrikaners in South Africa who were the victims of unjust racial discrimination would be welcome to come to the United States.
He compared their journey to that of his own father, a Jew from Austria who fled Europe in the 1930s, first to South America and then to the United States.
Because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. But it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed.
Trump's February order of resettling Afrikaners cited a land law by South Africa this year that aims to make it easier for the state to expropriate land in the public interest, which has caused concerns among some white South Africans, although no land has been seized.
But we are not daunted to navigate our path through this world that constantly changes. We will not be deterred. We are, as South Africans, a resilient people.
Some of the Afrikaners were heading to the Democratic-leaning Minnesota, which has a reputation of welcoming refugees, while others plan to go to the Republican-led states, such as Idaho and Alabama. The U.S. will welcome more Afrikaners refugees in the coming months.
South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something, but we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of, but it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me, but white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people to escape from that.
Davis Karani for GBS Ambassador.
We'll keep you more updated on that story as it develops. Now, we're heading to Nigeria, where Tijani Thiam, the high-profile former banker turned politician, has resigned as leader of the PDCI, Ivory Coast's main opposition party. His decision follows a string of legal challenges and a growing battle over his eligibility to run for president. Here's more on what led to his sudden exit.
Tijani Thiam has resigned as leader of Ivory Coast's main opposition party, the PDCI, citing what he calls judicial harassment. His exit follows mounting legal challenges, including a court petition questioning his selection as party leader and a ruling that removed him from the voter registry due to national issues. Thiam, who previously held French citizenship before reclaiming his Ivorian nationality, says the judiciary is being used to block his presidential ambitions. He accuses his opponents of orchestrating a targeted campaign to sideline him. With Thiam out, the PDCI is set to name an interim leader. His departure throws the opposition into uncertainty just months ahead of a crucial presidential race. Elvin Muyodi, GBS News.
We apologize for that. It was Ivory Coast, not Nigeria. Now, diplomatic relations between France and Algeria has reached a new low following Algeria's recent expulsion of 15 French diplomat agents, intensifying an already volatile situation marked by mutual distrust and retaliatory measures. Here's more on that.
Algeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs summoned the French chargé d'affaires in Algiers to inform him that 15 French officials were being expelled for ordinary irregular positions. This move follows a series of escalating action between the two countries, including previous expulsion of diplomats on both sides. French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot condemned Algeria's decision as quote-unquote unjustified, vowing an immediate and proportionate response. Tensions between the two countries have been simmering for months, exacerbated by France's support for Morocco's autonomy plan over the disputed Western Sahara region, a stance that Algeria perceives as a betrayal of its long-standing position supporting the Sawe people's right to self-determination. This is Jeff Abuki, GBS TV News, Nairobi.
Now, Israeli-American hostages Edan Alexander was released by Hamas and safely transported to Israel. Alexander was embraced by his family after 19 months in captivity. He was the last living American held by Hamas. Fighting stopped at midday in Gaza after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel will pause its operation to allow Alexander's safe passage. But meant on a wider truce or hostage release as a global hunger monitor warrant of famine in the devastated enclave. Hamas said it freed Alexander as goodwill gesture to U.S. President Donald Trump, who was visiting the region this week. Netanyahu said Alexander's release came thanks to Israeli military pressure in Gaza and political pressure by Trump. Netanyahu said there will be no ceasefire and the plans to intensify military action in Gaza continued. The release follows four-way talks between Hamas, the United States, Egypt, and Qatar. Witnesses reported Israeli tank shelling on eastern Gaza City after the handover. It's been a standout season for Paris Saint-Germain and an even bigger one for Moroccan star Hakimi. The 26-year-old defender has just been named the top African player in France Ligue 1, with winning the prestigious Marc Vivien Award with key goals, assists, and strong performances all season long. He continues to prove why he's considered one of the best right-backs in the world.
Paris Saint-Germain defender Achraf Hakimi has been voted the top African player in the French league, winning the Marc Vivien Foe Award. The 26-year-old Moroccan right-back played a key role in PSG's dominant season, scoring 4 goals and providing 6 assists, helping the club secure its 13th Ligue 1 title and a spot in the Champions League final. Hakimi is only the second defender to receive the award, named in honor of Cameroon player Marc Vivien Foe, who tragically died during a match in 2003. Despite facing rape allegations in 2023, which he denied and called an extortion attempt, Hakimi has retained public and industry support, continuing to shine on the pitch. The season is not over yet for Hakimi, as PSG faces Reims in the French Cup final on May 24th, followed by the Champions League final against Inter Milan on May 31st. With the African Cup of Nations set to be held in Morocco this December, Hakimi's leadership for both club and country is far from finished. Elvin Muyodi, GBS Sports.
That sports news takes us to a very fast break. We'll be back with the African in-depth segment. Stay tuned, we'll be back shortly.
Anza wiki yako kwa njia sahihi kwa GBS Jumatatu.
Niko nawe hadi mida ya saa 4 asubuhi. Kwanza niseme asante kwa kuzidi kufuatilia na kutazama vipindi vyetu ambavyo huwa tunakuandalia hapa ndani ya GBS TV Jumatatu. People are now seeing the money that have been given to church as a bribe.
Jiunge nasi kila Jumatatu asubuhi kuanzia saa 1:30.
Nimesikia mwenzangu akifanya hesabu hapo ya vile ambavyo miungano zitakuwa. Ruto is going to fail whether with Raila or without Raila.
Kuna mahali anakosea akisema ati Raila na Ruto wataungana. Hakuna kuungana iko hapo, ndugu yangu, aje nikwambie ukweli.
Hadithi za kunoga.
Ukiangalia Wakenya, wananchi wa Kenya, pia hao maisha yao imedhulumiwa kwa kuongezwa kwa taxes, ziko very high taxes. So the statement by Rigathi Gachagua is just statement ya kumcheck that we can see you we can see between the lines.
Na mazungumzo yenye nguvu ya kukuletea utulivu kwa wiki yako.
Ati Raila ataingia UDA hapo
nasema hivi mheshimiwa, ikiwa
Raila itakuwa, mimi naona itakuwa
hadi saa 4 za asubuhi kwa majadiliano ya kusisimua.
Mheshimiwa Rais William Samoei Ruto ajue ya kwamba sasa yeye ni president wa Kenya. Sio mambo ya kufanyia wana Kenya mzaha. Kupoteza biashara kwa siku moja katika CPD, nafikiria ni jambo ambalo ni rais.
Usikose, ingia kwenye GPS TV. Anza Jumatatu yako kwa kusudi.
If the government does not spend, my brother, hakuna maendeleo inaonekana, hakuna barabara zinatengenezwa, hakuna dawa kwa hospitali, my friend, economies will not grow.
Tuonane panapo majaliwa yake Mwenyezi Mungu.
GPS Jumatatu, palipo mjadala wa leo na mwelekeo wa kesho.
Water remains to be the world's most precious commodity, but is the most misused. In times of drought, saving water is the only solution to making sure you have it. Don't use the shower when water is scarce. Instead, use the basin while bathing. Repair all leaking taps and pipes. Wash your car only whenever necessary. If not, use a piece of cloth to wipe it clean. Do not use the hose pipe to water your garden. Instead, use the water you clean your vegetable with to water your flowers. Do not release wastewater into rivers. Note that your downstream is someone else's upstream. Of all the waters available on Earth, only 1% is fit for human consumption. Every drop counts.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the bulletin. On our African in-depth segment, we focus on a conflict that has entered its third year with no end in sight. What started as a power struggle between two rival factions has now spiraled into one of the world's worst humanitarian emergencies. In recent days, the violence has escalated dramatically, reaching even the once safe city of Port Sudan. Our feature story today looks at the nation on the brink. Sudan's war has now entered its third year, and what began as a power struggle between rival military factions has exploded into one of the world's worst humanitarian disasters. This past week marked a dangerous turning point. The once safe city of Port Sudan has come under fire. A place that had become a refuge for millions is now a frontline. The Rapid Support Forces launched a series of drone and missile attacks on the city, striking the airport, oil depots, power station, and even a hotel. The result? Widespread blackouts, evacuation, and growing fear among civilians who had already fled war once before. In just a few days, at least 33 people were killed in suspected RSF assaults. A strike on a prison in El Obeid left 19 people dead. In Darfur, an airstrike killed 14 members of a single family. No corner of Sudan feels safe anymore.
Was the Army's Air Force. They didn't intend to kill my son, but because the Rapid Support Forces were in the area, he was killed by accident while he was playing with other children. The body was in a bad state, so we had to make sure his siblings didn't see him. We had to take his body away quickly.
The war began in April 2023 after a failed attempt to shift power to a civilian-led government. Instead, the country fractured. The Sudanese armed forces took one side, and the RSF, a powerful paramilitary group with roots in Darfur, took the other. Now with both sides locked in a brutal power struggle, the humanitarian toll is staggering. 12 million people have been displaced, half the population. That's, get this, 30 million people need urgent aid. Hospitals are collapsing, 1 in 3 are still operational, and famine is spreading fast. In 2025 alone, more than 3 million children face acute malnutrition. Basic supplies, that is food, fuel, medicine, are either gone or priced out of reach.
This war should end with a military solution. A year of our lives has passed. It was filled with displacement and homelessness.
It is out of our hands. We are forced to leave our country. We are longing to go back to our homes, and we feel pain that the war is still ongoing.
A humanitarian travesty is playing out in Sudan under a veil of international inaction and inattention. Simply put, we are failing the people of Sudan.
In recent weeks, the Sudanese armed forces recaptured areas in central Sudan, including parts of Khartoum. But the Rapid Support Forces has tightened its hold in the west, even setting what is now being called a parallel government in some regions. Now, the battleground has widened, and now the fallout is international, leading to May 6th, Sudan officially severing diplomatic ties with the United Arab Emirates.
بأثره يتابع ولأكثر من عامين جريمة العدوان على سيادة السودان ووحدة أراضيه وأمن مواطنيه من دولة الأمارات العربية المتحدة وعبر وكيلها المحلي ميليشيا الدعم السريع المتمردة الإرهابية وظهيرها السياسي.
The Sudanese Armed Forces accuses UAE of supplying advanced weapons to the Rapid Support Forces, including drones used in the attacks on Port Sudan. Sudan's defense minister declared UAE, and I quote, an aggressor state, leading to the Sudanese embassies in Abu Dhabi to be closed, diplomatic staff withdrawn. The UAE has denied all allegations, and the International Court of Justice recently dismissed a Sudanese lawsuit citing procedural grounds.
Having come to the conclusion that it manifestly lacks jurisdiction, the court is precluded by its statute from taking any position on the merits of the claims made by Sudan.
Refugees continue to pour into Chad, Egypt, and South Sudan, putting pressure on already fragile nations. And as aid routes are cut off and vital infrastructure destroyed, the risk of Sudan's total collapse grows by the day.
We are living difficult periods with the influxes after the bombing of Zamzam IDP camp in Darfur and El Fasher. We have hundreds of thousands people moving who have been living in Zamzam. We didn't expect this big influxes of people. It's terrible here at the border. Many children, unaccompanied children like the one of 14 years we just met, this boy of 9 years who is crying here looking for their parents, many persons with specific needs, with elder, the doctor just told me that there are many pregnant women, lactating women who are malnourished, so we expect more malnourished people coming now, talking about people who are dying on their way from Zamzam to between Tawila and here Etine, dying with hunger.
There is no clear path to peace. No side appears close to victory, and millions of Sudanese remain caught in the crossfire. The silence of diplomacy is drowned out by the sound of gunfire. Susan Nganga, GBS News, Sudan. To debunk more on this, we have welcomed a political analyst on the bulletin, Mohamed El Hatim Hassan Habib, who is a political analyst focused on Africa and Middle East. Hassan Mohamed, welcome to the bulletin. Mohamed, what concrete evidence that the Sudanese government have to blame UAE of atrocities in Sudan? They continually say that the UAE support the RSF. What concrete evidence does Sudan have to support their claims? Mohamed, kindly unmute your mic. We can't hear you.
Sorry. Hello?
Now we can hear you. Sorry. Your mic was muted.
Yeah.
Yes. Kindly introduce yourself once more.
My name is and I'm from Sudan, student of international studies. My focus area is on Middle East and Africa.
Bulletin. Now we start with the latest development that is happening in Sudan. Sudan has continuously blamed the UAE of causing atrocities and helping the RSF. What concrete evidence does Sudan have, even going to the ICJ to file a genocide case against the country?
RSF
that has been through the military support. They have been providing the RSF drones and armed drones. And Sudan has captured in the territory that which has been controlled by the RSF boxes that contain the UAE military. They have captured a passport of United. I guess all those things have made Sudan to go forward against the UAE for the ICG case.
Okay, thank you. Now, Port Sudan has been attacked. It was once a safe haven for refugees fleeing the conflict-stricken Darfur. Now what happens next after this? Sudanese armed forces have promised retaliation. What happens next?
First of all, we must address that Port Sudan has been attacked and advanced long-range drones and strategic ones that strike the infrastructure, the airport, the field post, and government officials' offices. So this has escalated the war, which because Port Sudan is located in the eastern side, and which no one that has expected the war can reach that side. Now, clearly that the drones are reaching, people are struggling there, they're attacking also the power, the electricity, containers, and all those things are leading to more atrocities. Now Sudan, they escalated the situations against the UAE by cutting ties, and this may lead to more, confusions in the region. This may lead also to more escalations in the region. The RSF, and I guess now the armed forces, they're going to strike hard against the RSF so that they could restore the peace and restore the territory that which has been captured by the RSF.
And about Sudan's cutting ties with the UAE, but UAE issued a statement saying that they don't recognize that. UAE has continuously denied its support for the RSF. Is this true? Is UAE behind funding the rapid support forces?
Is the behind funding the RSF? Like everything could prove that the passport has been captured. The bomb boxes that which contain the RSF slogans and the RSF logo, the UAE logo, and also the military support, the logistical support that's coming from the UAE. The drones that has been supplied to UAE, those are very strategic drones, very advanced ones. I guess no non-state actor can have them or can get them. Those only can be sold to states.
If UAE is behind the support?
Behind the support. And I guess from cutting the ties with the UAE, the one who will be affected, the Sudanese diaspora in UAE, as far as I know, that they're above 250,000 to 260,000 in UAE. It's a very huge diaspora. The impact on cutting ties definitely is going to affect them. And this may also complicate the situation for the Sudanese citizens.
Let's shift the focus to the humanitarian crisis experienced in Sudan currently. Many people are displaced, many people are killed. Are we seeing a future in Sudan after this war?
There is always a future. That is, I guess, post-independence, we started the war between each other, and that which led to separation of South Sudan in 2011. Therefore, crisis started in 2003. All those like we've been through a lot of atrocities, we've been through a lot of wars, and we shall continue fighting for this country. Now, I do understand that the humanitarian crisis is way beyond the imaginary. It is too much now, like more than 90 million displaced, the hunger, the starvations, the like shortage of medicines also. Those are all problems that we're facing. But my perspective also, Sudan is a forgotten crisis. There is no enough international pressure to stop the war. There is no enough international condemnations against the UAE to stop funding the RSF. There is no any type of serious movement from the United Nations to stop the war. All we see is just we condemn and we condemn. But there is no really like a serious negotiation or serious pressure that's happening from the international community to stop the war in Sudan.
Nice point you have said there. We are not seeing like much effort being done by the international community to enable to stop the war in Sudan. Why do you think it's so? Does the international community actually benefit from this war?
I don't know. But for me, I believe that the crisis which is going on in the world now, for instance, like the Gaza Strip, the Ukraine-Russia war, and maybe lately Indo-Pakistan, all this led to cover up for Sudan things. I mean, like we are just a poor state in Africa, or like with a very low economy. And maybe I don't know, like I don't want to say that, but we are totally have been forgotten. I mean, like we do all believe that in the UN that we're all the same, but I don't see the same efforts. I don't see the same pressure that has been done by the international community against Russia or against any opposition country that where they have started war. Yes, we do agree that the war is between the Sudanese themselves, but we don't see enough pressure from the international community, even though that the RSF has been accused of recruiting mercenaries from different countries. It's like not even within the African continent, but from the Latin America as well. The Colombian's passport has been captured in a fashion, and therefore a lot of things are happening, but there is no enough pressure. So that's what we can see. It's all that we condemn and we see. It's like we have been totally forgotten. Every time we see now, like there is a UN shelter that has been held, or like there is any efforts going on to stop the Gaza Strip, like the war between Israel and Gaza, but we don't see anything in Sudan. There is nothing. Even the African Union is not doing it. Yeah, I don't see, and I guess and I believe that the impact will start by the neighbor. But even if the neighbors are not sure about their stance, whether they should stand with RSF or with the army, that also will lead to a confusion. Now, if we go and we divide the countries that are standing by Sudan in the neighbor, we may only classify Eritrea and Egypt. That's the one that is standing with the Sudanese armed forces. Chad, Ethiopia, to a certain extent, they're all against the army. And I guess the confusion which is going on in the battlefield now is leading to all this escalation.
A ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Are we here to see a ceasefire in Sudan? And when are we seeing it? If we are seeing it, is it a question of if or when?
I don't think we can see a ceasefire in Sudan, because this has been offered in the table since the war began. But like it's not my perspective only. It's my perspective on most of the Sudanese people. It's like in the beginning of the war, people maybe they did not take side against the RSF or against Sudan. But after the RSF started committing the atrocities, the genocide against the people, looting the people, taking the people out of their homes, displacing the people, committing genocide. People, I don't think so now. Most of Sudanese that will agree on ceasefire, because basically they have nothing to lose. It's like they lost all what they have. And now people are fighting just for their life, for the land. And between India and Pakistan, the ceasefire will happen 100%, because they are two strong nations, nuclear weapons, and the international community definitely will interfere and will impose a ceasefire whether they like it or not.
Thank you so much for that. And yes, I believe we are done. Thank you for joining us here at GBS The Ambassador. That's all we had in The Ambassador. Thank you for joining us. As we uncover the latest development, we'll keep him updated as the stories updates. Thank you and see you tomorrow, same time, same place at 1 p.m. I have been your Ambassador Susan Nganga. Good afternoon.